Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the video lecture series on wireless cellular and 4G LTE, module number 5, lecture number 6 on mobility management, part 1. So, as we have discussed in the various video lectures, that how the radio resource management has played a very important role to increase the quality of service which is provided to LTE system. Similarly, we do have one more management system in LTE, that is mobility management system. In this particular mobility management system, we will come across the various categorization of how the LTE mobility management functions. That is the functions of mobility management under two categories. So the first category here is mobility within the system, or within, you can call it as a within the LTE system, like we call it as internet and intranet. So similarly here, we within the system is called as the intranet mobility. Mobility in the sense moving from one unit to another unit, or one entity to another entity, or from one point to another point. Okay, and the second function here the LTE system has is the mobility to other system, which is called inter LTE mobility, or sometimes they call it as 3GPP. It is called as third generation participation protocol. Okay, participating protocol or partnership, we call it as partnership protocol. Okay, so 3GPP system, like for example UMTS. Okay, this is one type of a system which is called as a universal mode telecommunication service. Okay, UMTS stands for universal mode telecommunication system, or it can be services. And also it is available for non 3GPP system, like we call it as simple inter radio access transfer mobility. Okay, so these are basically, these two functions will fall under the category of mobility management. Now, the other than the mobility management, if you are making into the inter LTE mobility or intra LTE mobility, then in intra LTE mobility, what happens here is we have some kind of two interfaces. We call it as S1 interface and X2 interface. Okay, and when the LTE will be working in S1 interface, and when the L2E will be working in the X2 interface, that is more important. So whenever your user equipment or the user entity, or simply you can take it as a mobile unit, okay, once it move from one node to another node within the same radio access, okay, within the same radio access, and that radio access is being attached to the same mobility management equipment or mobility management entity, okay, then the mobility takes place over the X2 interface. Okay, for example, if you have a mobile phone, okay, and we are moving from one point to the another point within the same network area, or within the same locality, okay, which is being attached to some kind of exchange, or simply you can call it as mobility management equipment or entity, then during that conditions it will fall under the category of X2 interface. Okay, so for the LTE to be operated in the X2 interface, it should be within the same radio access. This is more important. Okay, now on the other hand, okay, when if you are moving from one node to another node, okay, and that node belongs to some different mobile management entity, okay, or for example if they are not connected to the particular same radio access, okay, then that mobility will fall under the category of S1 interface. So how this S1 interface and the X2 interface here are, for example, if you have the same network, or if you are using the same, if two mobiles are communicating within the same network radio access, or simply you can call it as within the same tower, okay, let them move within the network at any point, okay, in the cell, then they will fall under the X2 interface. Okay, now if my mobile will, if I take from one point to some other point which is not belonging to the same network tower, okay, then that will fall under the category of S1 interface. So based on the radio network access, these are classified as S1 interface and S2 interface. Now let us go in detail and see what is S1 interface and how this S1 interface will help us to achieve the proper communication or proper radio access. Okay, so in S1 interface, basically it is almost similar to UMTS, that is nothing but universal mode telecommunication service, okay, which belonging to some serving radio network subsystem called as SRNS, okay. Relocation procedures and consisting of the following steps. If you want to move from one entity to another entity, that is from one location to another location, which are completely operated on different radio access network, then that is called as S1 entity. Okay. Now in this particular S1 entity, we have three phases. If you look at in this mobility management over S1 interface, we have three phases of operation. So the first phase is called as a preparation phase. Second phase is called as execution phase, and the last phase is called as a completion phase. Okay. And on the other side, we have user entity, we have source E node, we have target, okay, and we have source MME, and we have target MME. Simply it is called a source, is belongs to your source from where it can be transmitted. Target is nothing but your destination, okay, and here also source, and this is a destination. So two node, one is source, another is target, another is for source, and another is target, and this is nothing but your user entity. Okay. Now when we go in detail of the preparation phase, what is happening in the preparation phase? Here you can see in preparation phase, once the decision is made, okay, for a handover, okay, for example, if you want to make a call from one point to one customer to another customer, and it has been decided, and how that has been decided? By dialing that particular number. Okay. So therefore, once the decision is being made for a handovering of your call, okay, and a target MME and E node has been identified, that is called the identification belongs like just like your number, right? You have decided to make a call to some person, and you have decided to which number you need to call. For example, if a person has two numbers, okay, and out of two number, which number you want to call, you have already decided. So based on the decision you have made, okay, the network will allocate the resources. Okay. For example, if there are two particular numbers, one number belongs to, for example, like Vodafone, and some number belongs to some, like example, Airtel. Okay. So these Airtel will have its own resource allocations, and the Vodafone network has its own resource allocations. Okay. So based on the decision made by the user, okay, or made by the network, which network you want to choose, then once everything is done, then only the resources are allocated. That is what is done in the preparation phase. Okay. So first, from the source node, a handover request has been sent. You can see here from the node. Okay. So one handover request has been sent. Then after the sending the handover requestment to what? To source MME. Okay. Source MME is nothing, mobility management system. This mobility management system is responsible for handling of calls, like handovering of calls. Okay. So request is done by the source to MME, and this MME will forward the request to target. Okay. So forward reallocation request. So one request is from the source, and the another request is another will be from, and the same request is being forwarded to the target MME. Okay. So once the target is been once the target receives the request from the other source E node, okay, so the next here is nothing but implementing the complete execution part. So what this MME was doing, it was just taking the signals from the source E node, okay, and sending a request to the E node so that the complete setup can be done. Okay. Same thing what we do in our normal telephonic call. So what we do in the telephonic call, we first decide, then we try to identify the number, and then we'll set up a call. Okay. So it will request for the establishment of call. Okay. Same thing is happening in this particular preparation phase. Okay. So other than the operation in the preparation phase are like, once the request is been done, what will be the next step here is this target MME which has received a request from source E node B will hand over the request back to whom? It will to resource setup. Here you can see all are interrelated. Okay. First thing is nothing but the source will request the source MME that this source want to connect to target B. Okay. This source will not directly connect to target B. It will not connect directly. First, it will source node, it will request to the source MME that I want to make a call, or I want to make a setup, or I want the resources so that I can connect it to target B. So this will put a request to source, and this source will not connect directly to target B. Again, it will send it to target MME, mobility management, and this target MME belongs to target of E node B. So once this target MME receives the request made by this, then it will implicate, or it will just go for forwarding that particular request, or just handing over the request to target B. So what this target B will do, it will set up, or it will try to establish a connection between the source and the target. Okay, so once the target is been set up, or the resources are being made available for source E node B, then what this will do is, this after particular this setting up of this the resources, this target E node B will send an acknowledgement that the allocation is been done. So which type of allocation? Resource allocations are done. So I am just giving the acknowledgement to the target MME, and this particular target MME will give you the response to source of MME, not directly to the source, not directly to the source. It will give the acknowledgement, or it will just forward the response which is being done from the target E node B to source MME, and this source MME will give the commands to source E node B so that it can utilize the user equipment. So in this way, the preparation phase will work out here. This section is called as preparation phase. You can see here this particular, where right from the starting of your user entity, it will start from user entity, because I want to use the user equipment. Okay, I cannot directly use the user equipment. To use the user equipment, first I need to request, I need to forward, then I need to again then that request will be again forwarded for the resource allocation. Once resource allocations are done, then the acknowledgement will be given to the target that everything is setup has been done. Then after doing all the setup, again the target will give the response to source, and that response will hand over to source E node B. Once this operation is done, then this source E node B will give a command to the user equipment that he can use the user equipment, or he can use the network. Okay, so in this way the preparation phase will work. Now we do have the another called as execution. Once everything the setup is done, okay, once everything setup is done, what we do before the, if I want to do any kind of an experiment, what we do at the the first step is we will allocate the resources, like the components are being allocated to you. First you request for the components will be allocated to you. When the components are done, you will try to set up, right? Once the setup is done, you acknowledge that yes, the setup is done. So once the setup is done, you will inform, then you will be able to do the experiment. Okay, that doing part of experiment will fall under the category of execution phase. Okay, so once everything is done, the setup is done, then the second phase here is called as execution phase. So in execution phase, here the radio access channels are allocated. Okay, so once the user entity or user equipment receive the handover command, it will respond performing the various radio access network related procedures, okay, which are needed for the handover, including the target E node B using the random access channel RACH. Okay, here you can see once the handover operation is received, then this is done. That is, radio access channel is been allocated, and it will hand over the confirmation. Okay, confirmation to what? The target E node, because now this is enabled. Once this is enabled, it has to confirm. It has to confirm from the target that whether the resources allocated for the particular user entity can be usable or not usable, right? So once this user entity confirms from the target node, okay, then the target node, what it will do is it will allocate, or it will notify, okay, it will notify to the target MME. Here you can see. Okay, and what the other things are done here is, under while the user equipment performs the handover, like here handover, then the source E node initiate the status transfer where the PDCP context of user entity is transferred to the target E node. So once the confirmation is done, this will take place. These two type of information or transfers will be taken place. Here you can see here command is been done. So once the command is been handed over, user E node B sends the transfer to the source AME, and then status back from the target will be again coming back to the target E node B. So in this way, the execution phase will perform, where the concept of PDCP, like we have buffer, we have sequence number, right? We have ciphering, we have deciphering, okay? We have header compression, we have integrity, okay? All the concepts will come into the existence under the radio access barrier, okay? Then only the establishment takes place. And also once everything is done, once the execution part is done, what after doing what we do, we give the confirmation that yes, whatever the resources are allocated, they are being done correctly, the status has been transferred, and then I confirmed my access. Okay, then the last phase here is completion phase. Here you can see in the completion phase that when the target E node B receive the handover confirm, you can see this particular target E node B is receiving the handover confirmation here. Okay, so once it receives the handover confirmation message, so it sent a handover notification to the MME. Okay, and in turn the MME then informs the source E node B to release the sources originally used by the UEE, right? Because once you have utilized the resources, you have done the operation, you have transferred the information. Okay, once everything execution is done, so what is the next procedure? That you need to hand over the resources which you have taken here, right? You have taken the resources initially to do the setup. So whatever the resources you have taken, you need to hand over by first confirming, and then the target will notify to the transfer MME, and the transfer MME, it will give a response that the execution has been completed to the source MME, and in return the source MME will give a release resource. It will release the resources which are been allocated to the user equipment to perform the complete operation, and all the resources will be available in its original, which are being used by user entity. Now let us go for the X2 mobility. So what the X2 mobility says that it should be inter LTE, that is nothing but within the node, within the radio access. Okay, so as we have seen with the S1 interface, let us go with the X2 interface. We do have again a diagram showing the X2 interface. Okay, and this particular X2 interface has three phases. One is preparation phase, execution phase, and the completion phase. Okay, so what is the preparation? What does this preparation phase does is the same as what we have done. So first this will hand over the request to the target E node B. Okay, so two blocks are reduced in X2 interface, okay, which are merged here, that is mobility management, and here it is serving gateway network. Okay, so first initially the handover request decision is been made by the resource E node B, and it will send one request. Okay, request message to the target E node B, and what this target will do, target will allocate the resources. Okay, based on the reception of your message. Okay, based whatever the messages we have received here, or the what the request is been done, the resources are requested and they are set up. Okay, now they are set up in what does this mean? That it is ready to use now. Okay, so therefore in X2 interface it is possible to set up the resources as per the radio access barrier. Okay, and which is directly implies upon the completion of your handover operation. Okay, so what this will do, handover is done, resources are being set up directly. Okay, if the resources are set up, a acknowledge has been sent to the source E node B that the resources are been set up, and now they can use the user equipment just by handing over the commands to the user entity. Now similarly, as compared to the S1 interface, here in this preparation phase, whatever the E node B is with there, it should be same set of quality of service. Okay, whatever we have seen in the earlier part, the quality of service should be the same, and the handover and the sieving of the user entity is not required at the target side. Okay, so therefore that is the reason the target eNode B and the target MME are been completely completely merged into one mobility managed entity here in the figure what you have seen. Okay, and what is done in the execution phase, again based on the reception. Okay, based on the once the command has been received by the user equipment, it will send the status. Okay, receiving the handover request acknowledgement. Okay, the resource eNode B send a handover command to the user equipment. We can see this is been sent a user handover command from the source to user equipment. Okay, and while the user equipment completes the various radio access network related handover procedures. Okay, and once the procedures are completed under the user equipment, okay, and what does this will do, then the resource eNode B, okay, it will transfer the status. Okay, it will transfer the status and the data transfer to target of eNode B. This is done again as per the radio access barrier for which is done for user entity. Okay, so if this is done, it will transfer the simply transfer that it has been done. Okay, this is the execution part. So what is there in the completion part is once the status has been received by the target eNode B that the user entity has utilized all the resources and the handover procedures are done, then the last operation here is nothing but it is a completion phase where again the user entity hand over the procedure by sending the handoff complaints. So it will try to confirm that all the resources are being sent to the target. Okay, and then it will send it to the switching serving gateway. You can see the path switching request has been done by the user entity for the completion. Okay, so once the request is been granted, this it will send an acknowledgement that it is granted, that uh, it can cut down or it can just terminate. Okay, so therefore based on the target, it send the path switch to the MME slash serving gateway, and it will again in back it will send the acknowledgement. Okay, so once the data path in the user plane is switched to the normal mode, then the messages can be sent back to the source eNode B, so that the resources which are being allocated to the user equipment under the source eNode B, that can be simply released. Okay, they can be released based on the originality of the user entity which they are allocated. Okay, so therefore in case of X2 mobility as compared to S1 mobility, the source eNode B can select a lossless handover. We don't have any kind of lossless. Okay, because there is a small gap between the resource allocation and the user equipment, so therefore it's a completely a lossless handover. Okay, for one or more than one radio access barriers. So that is why this X1 interface, sorry, this X2 interface will fall under the category of inter LTE mobility. Inter LTE mobility, where everything can be within the range or within the whole concept part. Okay, you can it will fall under the category of intra in the sense everything will be under the same radio access network. If all the resources are under the same access network, then obviously there will not be any kind of a handover problem. Okay, easily the resources are allocated. Again, the user equipment can easily do the handover procedures and then come back and it can release the resources back to its normal state. Okay, so with this, the two mobility management, that is S1 mobility and the X2 mobility interfaces are done and completed. Just go through this and try to understand the whole concept. Okay, thank you.